I was directed to another set of questions for heretics like myself. It's my catnip, so let's see what this guy has to say.
Hi there. This is especially for all you infidels out there. I've just got some questions to ask.
Zinfandel? It's a bit early for me to start drinking. Wine, at least. I got my coffee already, so there's that. Oh, my bad. Guess that does describe me. Go on.
So I'll give you 10 questions for you to scream, rant, and bellyache about. Okay, question 1. If no supernatural creator exists, how did the universe originate? What was the nature of the environment that the Big Bang emanated from?
Okay, so I guess that's my cue to start screaming, ranting, and bellyaching. What are you doing? That is just wrong! Ending a sentence with a preposition? Don't you know that prepositions are things you should not end a sentence on? Ugh. We don't know what caused the expansion of the universe, or the nature of it at the moment of the Big Bang. Our calculations and observations can only go back so far, before even physics themselves stops being understood. We admit our ignorance and current lack of knowledge. However, while there is much evidence that the universe expanded, there is absolutely no evidence that it was an intelligence that caused the Big Bang, so there is, as of yet, no reason to believe in one.
Okay, now question number 2. If no supernatural universal designer exists, why is the Earth suitable for the existence of life? Why isn't there life on other planets?
I'm going to start by quoting the good book here. Space is big. Really big. You just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-boggling big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemist, but that's just peanuts to space. And so on. Our recently published study out of the University of Texas in El Paso says that 1% of exoplanets have the conditions that could support life. That's about 100 million in the Milky Way alone. Out of all those that could support life, the fact that one we know of, the Earth, has developed life is not at all surprising. And the big reason why we haven't found life on other planets yet is because we haven't been able to explore them. As I mentioned before, space is fairly large. Apart from a few touchdowns from our closest neighbors, the best we've been able to do is some flybys of the planets in this solar system. Some of the nearest planets that might support life are light years away. Unless there is some new discovery in physics, we won't be exploring them anytime soon. That's a moon. He specifically said planets. Hey!
Question number 3. If no supernatural universal designer exists, how did life originate? Did life come from inanimate objects?
The first self-replicating molecules would have had to have been very simple, but yes, it would come from basic chemical reactions. Scientists have been able to recreate RNA in the lab using inanimate materials. Now, as always, I have to clarify this by saying it doesn't prove how life did develop, only that it could have developed and could have happened in a way without any supernatural assistance. You might claim how unlikely this is, but if you take the multitude of chemical reactions happening all over the planet for 1 billion years or so, again, it's not surprising that some self-replicating molecules happened at least once. And once is all that's needed. One time for molecules to start replicating, and suddenly, geologically speaking, you have a planet infested with life.
Question number 4. If no supernatural universal designer exists, what caused the repeated disappearance of more primitive forms of life and the appearance of more advanced forms of life? For example, at the beginning of the Mesozoic and Cenozoic periods.
To start, how do mass extinctions prove or disprove a creator? Really, one seems to have no connection to the other. Anyway, life is pretty fragile. We, meaning living things, have evolved to fit our niches pretty well. Any kind of major change in the environment will disrupt those niches and will cause a major upheaval in survivability. Now, the major extinctions have happened because of massive upheavals in the environment. The Permian-Triassic extinction, the start of the Mesozoic, has several proposed mechanisms. The one I favor is the release of methane from the ocean, changing the composition and temperature of the atmosphere, but there are several other theories, impact events and supervolcanism. Volcanism? Lots of volcanoes going off. The thing all these possible events have in common is they are natural phenomena. No supernatural force is needed for their explanation. The Cretaceous Paleogene extinction, the start of the Cenozoic, was believed to be caused by a massive comet or asteroid impact. The Chicxulub crater in the Gulf of Mexico can be dated to the same time as the KT extinction event, giving credence to this theory. It would have caused an impact winter, changing the environment radically, so that many creatures would not have been able to survive. The point is, even a small natural change can cause species to go extinct, so a major catastrophe that will kill off many species is not surprising, and following that, the species that depended on them. Kind of humbling to realize that a major catastrophe could easily wipe us out. That's why we need Bruce Willis around to murder punch any asteroids about to hit us.
I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing.
Question number 5. So, if no God exists who can work miracles and communicate with men, how did the ancient Israelites come to believe that their ancestors experienced the Exodus and the revelation at Mount Sinai?
The same way that all believers in all faiths come to believe their myths. They were told they were true, so they were believed. If you're claiming that beliefs can be used as evidence for God, then congratulations. You just proved all religions are true, which, honestly, will make quite a confusing pantheon to deal with now.
Question number 6. If God did not give the Ten Commandments at Mount Sinai, why is it that societies that have adhered to them have been relatively stable? And why is it that the judges, magistrates and politicians of the new self-appointed patrician caste of today have sabotaged them? Is this not an act of war against God?
First off, are you talking about the actual Ten Commandments? The ones the Bible calls the Ten Commandments, found in Exodus 34:12-26?
What do you mean commandments? You're talking about the Ten Commandments?
Yes, the actual Ten Commandments, the original stone tablets that Moses brought down out of Mount Horeb and smashed, if you believe in that sort of thing.
These deal mostly with how to worship, holy days, and food preparation, such as not boiling a goat in its mother's milk. I assume you're talking about the ones that popular culture, not the Bible, refers to as the Ten Commandments. And even out of those, most stable societies do not hold these Ten Commandments as the laws of the land. There are 2 of these commandments that are good ones that society should put into law. Don't kill and don't steal. And even I can think of several times it would be morally justified to break them. But those 2 are practiced in most societies because they keep members of that society from harming each other, not because they were given from on high. And they have been practiced since before Moses supposedly existed. See the Code of Hammurabi for a pre-Moses example of these rules in action. I don't know about sabotage, or who the self-appointed patrician caste you're referring to is, but in a secular society, there is no reason government should force people to obey a religious commandment just because a religion says people should. This is not a war against God, but a system that allows people to believe what they want to believe as long as it does not harm anyone else. Seriously, if anybody knows what this self-appointed patrician caste he's referring to is, please, let me know. It's kind of driving me crazy.
Question number 7. If we have no soul, why do we feel conscious of ourselves?
In natural selection, anything that helps one survive is useful. Having a sense of self means we want to protect that self, hence the term self-preservation. If you did not feel like you had a sense of self, you would be less likely to protect yourself and would be more likely to take yourself out of the gene pool, meaning the ones that did feel conscious of themselves would be more likely to survive and pass on that feeling of self. And it's not just humans. Animals have a sense of themselves as well. The mirror test done with birds, placing a dot on the chest of a magpie that it can only see in a mirror, will cause the bird to try to remove that dot. A dot that blends in with the natural coloring of the bird does not cause the bird to try to remove that dot because it cannot see it in the mirror. This shows that the bird can see and recognize itself in the mirror and therefore has a sense of itself.
Question number 8. If we have no free will, why do we feel that we are making free choices?
I've never seen any evidence of this free will. All the thoughts I have can be traced to chemical and electrical impulses in my brain, all physical phenomena. So when we make a decision, it's predetermined by the composition of the brain and the stimuli affecting it. So while it feels like a choice, that's all it is, a feeling, and anything I choose to do is predetermined by the physical world. A common theory is that the illusion of free will is because of our imagination. Since we can picture different choices we can make, and as far as we can feel our choice was not caused by an outside force, we feel we are the ones making the free choices. And not all atheists disbelieve in free will. There are atheists out there who think we have free will even without a God, and there are theists out there who don't think we have a free will.
Question number 9. If no God exists, why are we obligated to be nice to other people? Why do we feel the need to? Is it that we are mere animals who seek material gain from others?
We are social creatures. Our ancestors, the ones that thrived, were the ones who were able to work with others. The ones who had the instincts to cooperate in groups did better to survive and passed on those instincts to their descendants. We're not obligated to be nice to one another, but those who are not nice to others have a harder time because they will alienate themselves from the rest of society.
And question number 10. If we live in a purely material world, how do we account for the many supernatural experiences that people have, such as encounters with God, ghosts, spirits, etc.? Obviously, exactly what all of these encounters actually are all interpreted by different people in different ways, but the fact remains that people encounter things that do not fit a purely naturalistic worldview. Are we really to conclude that all of these people are delusional, deceptive, or mad? Or could it be that people are having real encounters with real supernatural beings, not explainable through purely scientific mediums?
Because people can be confused and believe what they want to believe or think is true. People who believe in the supernatural will gravitate towards supernatural explanations for things they cannot explain. But just because that is a conclusion they come across does not mean that's what actually happened. That's why science is so rigorous and needs evidence before hypotheses can be believed. Now, if you can find some testable and repeatable evidence for any of these supernatural claims, please present it. It will shed new light on how the world actually is, something the scientific community would love to have.
So, if you want to try and answer them, go ahead.
Okay, I will. Oh, wait, I think I just did.
And I must admit, I didn't write all of these questions, some of them I might have tinkered with, but you know what I'm getting at.
Well, you're honest, I'll give you that. I often do research to find answers to questions I come across. If you had tried to find answers as much as you tried to find questions, you might not even have had to ask. Of course, that would assume you actually want the answers.
And I don't think you can answer them. All you're going to say is, oh, if I don't know, then you don't know, because I'm an atheist.
Not exactly. I did reply to some of these with I don't know, because I'm admitting my ignorance. If evidence can be found to show that our knowledge of the world is incorrect, I will gladly change my views. But I'm not going to blindly follow some claims that don't have any evidence to back them up. That's why I'm an atheist. Because I do not yet have any evidence of a God, I don't have any reason to think there is one.
Anyway, 2 more parts to do after this.
I might get around to them. For those watching, if there's any interest in me checking out... I might get around to them. For those watching, if there's any interest in me checking out and answering his other questions, please let me know, and I'll look into them in the future. Actually, it's a Timmy's double-double, and I only felt like crying once during this video.
I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing.
Anyway, there you go. Like he said, he has more videos filled with questions. Let me know if you think I should continue answering them or not.
Don't wanna close my eyes. I don't wanna fall asleep, 'cause I miss